Hey guys, this is Jeff Hasse. I'm the children's pastor here at Christ Place. I hope you're having a great day. And it's my pleasure to go with you today through day 11 in our 10,000 Reasons Devotional Guide. And so let's dive into it. We're reading out of the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verses 10 and 11. They are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed by your great power and by your strong hand. O Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant and to the prayer of your servants who delight to fear your name. And give success to your servant today, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. The man that Nehemiah is talking about there at the end is actually the king. He's the king of the entire country, and Nehemiah worked for him. He was actually in a very high political position, and Nehemiah was going to go ask the king for help. Nehemiah had a burden on his heart. Nehemiah had a God-given vision to go back to his home country and to rebuild the wall around the capital city of Jerusalem. But he couldn't do it alone, and so he felt like God had directed him to go talk to the king to ask for help in doing it. It wasn't a sure thing that the king would help. It wasn't a surefire solution that the king would be willing to give help to rebuild Jerusalem for a number of different reasons. But Nehemiah believed God. Nehemiah believed that God had given him this vision, that God had given him this burden to do it. And so he had the faith to believe that what God said was true. He had the faith to believe that what God said, God would help to bring it to pass. And so Nehemiah used his faith in order to go talk to the king about the project that he wanted to start. Simply, faith means believing God, believing that what God said is true. It says in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 1, it says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Using our faith means that we can't see what the results are going to be. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we're going to trust God anyway. We're going to trust that what God said is true. Faith, when we mix our faith with the promises of God, we see faith rise in our hearts. And I love this quote from the devotional today, and it gives us the courage to overcome our doubts and fears. See, the truth is, when God gives you a burden, He will always require you to use faith to see that burden come to pass. God will never call you to something that doesn't require faith. And remember, faith is when you believe something, but you don't necessarily see it happening. Now, let's give you an example. I have a recyclable, reusable coffee cup here from my favorite coffee shop. And inside this cup, I am going to pour some just plain old regular water into this cup. Now, the truth is, as you see me pouring this in here, you don't have to use faith. You don't have to exercise your faith to know that the water's in here because you saw me pour it in here. It doesn't require faith if you can see it. Now, here's where faith comes in. The faith part is when you see something that goes against what you expected to happen. Now, you thought there was water in there. You believed that there was water in there. You saw that there was water in there. And so you believe that it's in there, but now you're seeing that there's not anything in there. And so now you have faith that there's still water in this cup, but you don't see it happening. Now, let me show you what I did, and some of you may know the trick already, but inside of this cup, it wasn't completely empty. There was a powder in the cup, and it mixed with the water to form a slush. You can kind of see the slush right there, so that, oh, got a little bit on my book there, so that it changed into something different. It's not just water anymore. Now it's water and slush. The water's still in there. You're right to use your faith to believe that the water's still in this cup, but it changed. Just like when we mix our faith with God's promises, it changes. It changes into something completely different. The water becomes a completely different substance. And I hope today you'll think about that as you use your faith and believe that what God says is true. Have a great day, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.